This video is brought to you by Raycon. Click the link in the description to get 15% off their everyday E25 wireless earbuds. Stay tuned for more details. It's pretty intimidating to approach certain works that have achieved a significant positive reputation. Inevitably, it results in two different outcomes. One outcome is Chrono Trigger. Despite its reputation, I was blown away by how tightly paced it was, how much I grew to love the characters, music, time travel, plot. It quickly became one of my favorites, and pretty much everyone responded to that video well. Outcome number two is A Link to the Past, a Zelda game which I think is fine enough, but one that I just can't get behind the appeal of. I would rather play most other Zelda games. The reaction to that video was less than celebratory, let's just say. With Donkey Kong Country 2, I find myself saddled with the more favorable outcome. I think this is one of the best platformers ever made, and at no point while playing it did I ever feel like any of the hype behind it was overblown. I thoroughly enjoyed myself, but even though this means my comment section won't devolve into warfare, it also means that I have very little to say that probably hasn't already been said. I ran into a similar problem with the Sonic Adventure games. I really wanted to talk about them, to get my thoughts out there, but at the end of the day, did I really contribute much to the conversation that hadn't already been injected into the discourse? Nevertheless, there are a lot of games I really want to talk about, and I'm not going to let the fact that I don't have a particularly original set of takes stop me from doing what I want to do with this channel. That's a pretty quick way to make me hate my job. So I'm just going to tackle this game as a relative newcomer, talk about all the stuff that hooked me, and maybe even raise a few points that longtime fans of the game may take for granted nowadays. This is Donkey Kong Country 2 for the SNES. I suppose we should start with Crocodile Isle. DK Island was one of my favorite aspects of the original. All of the levels more or less fell in line with the theming of which portion of the island DK and Diddy were exploring, and I appreciate how immersive it was. However, I'll be the first to admit that while effective, it was a bit simple on the whole. There's only so much you can wring out of a jungle theme. Ancient ruins, cave systems, treetops, they're all gorgeously realized, but even I could feel the fatigue setting in near the end. Crocodile Isle is enemy territory, and with that comes a more diverse set of locations. A pirate ship, a volcano with mine shafts, a dark swamp, a castle, and the heart of it all, in my opinion, the amusement park, so poorly maintained that brambles and beehives are sprouting out of it. Now, are there a few more creative liberties here? Yeah, maybe it's a little less cohesive than DK Island. You can tell this pirate ship visual was recolored to fit into the swamp world. The bramble levels are a little too out there for supposedly just growing out of the side of a mountain. It looks more like you've ascended into some bramble dimension in the sky. However, I can suspend my disbelief enough to sink myself into its world. I can buy that this is where the Kremlings live, this huge mountain that dwarfs DK Island in size, Captain K. Rool hanging out in his castle penthouse, blowing off steam at the amusement park. It says a lot about the Kremlings without any words. What were previously minecart cave levels have become roller coaster rides. What were previously explorations of the reefs below have become the depths of an abandoned pirate ship. And what were previously a set of incredibly easy boss fights have become a set of incredibly easy boss fights with more interesting visual backdrops. What's more, I think the more diverse and often dangerous level themes underscore the journey that Diddy and Dixie are on to save Donkey Kong. The premise this time around is that Captain K. Rool has kidnapped Donkey Kong and taken him to the top of Crocodile Isle, so it's up to Diddy and his girlfriend Dixie to brave the island on their own. The first game had a pretty relaxing pace to it. K. Rool stole your bananas. Run around the island to get them back. The bananas are important to the Kongs, sure, but the stakes aren't really that massive. Donkey Kong and Diddy are a really strong unit, a hulking ape with his more agile sidekick. While the game is certainly difficult, from the perspective of the characters, you're more or less just swinging around the island like usual. The sequel ratchets up the stakes. Donkey Kong is gone, and he took his hulking, imposing figure with him. Though he has a partner to tag along, Diddy has to front the operation without his best pal. Where maybe having Donkey Kong along for the ride, an older, more experienced Kong, would have instilled more confidence in the adventure overall. It makes the victory over Captain K. Rool all the sweeter. Despite neither of the games being a walk in the park, I would easily cite DKC 2 as the more arduous journey. with the more satisfying payoff. And all you needed to set that stuff up was a letter from K. Rool at the beginning and an ass-kicking at the end. Never say I ask for too much. Diddy and Dixie make an incredibly solid pair. It's the same deal, really. Diddy is more agile than Dixie, able to move around with more speed and finesse. The trade-off is a lot more interesting this time around. In the first game, all DK really had over Diddy was that he could kill bigger enemies, which meant a lot for that game, but I prefer the DKC2 method, where Diddy and Dixie are about on equal footing when it comes to dealing with enemies, but Dixie has far more aerial mobility with her hair twirl. This means she can cross longer distances in the air to find bonus barrels or DK coins. The dynamic this time around is Diddy for speed and Dixie for exploration. It's still a great system because it hurts to only have one of the Kongs, but you don't really have to worry about which enemies you can and can't defeat. There's a more uniform system where bigger enemies can only be defeated by throwing objects at them, giving these treasure chests and cannonballs a lot more utility. Given that there isn't really a lot else to go over about the core gameplay here, you still roll into enemies for speed, most of the same level gimmicks return, etc., I think it would make more sense to just run through some of my favorite levels and talk more specifically about what makes DKC2 so consistently engaging. Pirate Panic is a great first level, though it's true for all the levels in Gangplank Galleon. Starting the sequel on the same ship where the first game ended, using it as a beginner's playground to ease the player in, is pretty clever. You're taught all the basics here. You can use your roll move to chain kill enemies and reach phenomenally high speeds. You can pick up and throw objects to reveal hidden items. There are bonus barrels hidden off screen for curious players. You can throw your buddy into the air to collect hidden secrets. Rambi is back, along with some new and returning animal buddies serving much the same function as they did in the original. And this time, you can get extra goodies if you jump on the gold barrel with enough height and proper timing. Pirate Panic lays its cards on the table right out of the gate. Donkey Kong Country 2 is Donkey Kong Country with a few extra or revamped mechanics. Lava Lagoon is your typical water level, but with a more exciting twist. You have to jump on this walrus to cool down the water, meaning you only have a limited time to get through these water sections. I'm a big fan of these in the belly of the ship levels, with barrels and boxes swaying around. As usual, On Guard is hidden to give you an easier time, but it's especially difficult given you have a bit of a time limit. If you can find him though. Looking for secrets is so much easier due to his increased speed and ability to kill enemies. It's a much more elegant way to make a difficult water level than something like Poison Pond, which just has to obscure your visibility and throw cheap gotchas at you. There aren't really any moments like that in DKC2. No minecart carnage blindsides, which leads to a much more natural difficulty curve. Red Hot Ride feels like two levels thrown together. It's a little long in the tooth, and probably could have been shortened a bit. That said, I still think the core idea here is fun in its own way, if maybe a slight change of pace from the rhythmic, speedy platforming of the previous levels. Here you have to move across the lava on hot air balloons, avoiding obstacles along the way, trying to make it to the next updraft. I think it's pretty fun trying to position yourself just right so the updrafts won't knock you into enemies. One of my favorite aspects of it is that you can take Rambi through the balloon segments, and at the end of one, you come up against a long walkway with a wall at the end. If you charge here with Rambi, you get a bonus rim. These are my favorite kind of secrets. This one isn't clearly signposted, it's just after the balloon segment where you first get Rambi. You have to intuit that this long stretch of land after this segment is what you needed Rambi for. And most of the levels with animal buddies operate on this principle. No more jumping to your supposed death at the end of a level. Pretty much all the bonus rooms in DKC2 ride this fine line between obvious and cryptic. There's a similar thing in Barrel Bayou, where you can position one of the barrels backward to pick up Rambi. It's a little more difficult here to get him through the level, but once you hit the signpost that removes him, you get rewarded with a DK coin for your perseverance. As soon as you collect it, there's another secret with this cloak. There's an arrow pointing left, which is the direction the cloak will move once he's done throwing things at you. If you follow him, he will stop right before the mysterious cannon you happened to cross and give you the cannonball, unlocking a bonus room. Since you already knew about this cannon, and cannonballs have been in previous levels, you already know that a cannonball is somewhere nearby. You just have to find it. And once you're in the bonus room, you realize the other reason why secret hunting is so fun in this game. Not only do you get actual rewards, the rooms themselves are based around entirely original tests of skill. Whether it be collecting all the stars, killing all the enemies, breaking open all the chests, or making it to the end of a mini platforming section, all of the bonus rooms are unique. Rickety Race is a fun twist on the traditional minecart level. It's focused on speed, and there are other racers you have to play around while you're trying to survive. If you can defeat all the other racers and make it to first place, you get a DK coin for your trouble. DK coins are an excellent secondary collectible, and usually require much more outside-of-the-box thinking than the bonus rooms. You can get them from challenges like this, or keeping an animal buddy through the stage, or taking an invincibility barrel and falling into the water with the chomper fish, or maybe it's just hidden off screen. I find that they're much more challenging to locate on the whole. Web Woods is a level entirely focused around an animal buddy, the new web-spitting spider, Squitter. Except in these levels, you control the animal buddy directly instead of using them as a temporary power-up. It's like the animal bonus rooms from DKC1 fleshed out into actual levels where the designers can bring out their full potential. Squitter is a bit of a slower play style, but I enjoy what he adds. He can kill any enemy and can reach pretty much any height with his web platforms. In a level built around him, he often has to play with changing elevation while on his web platforms to avoid swooping enemies. Your web platforms are temporary, so you have to make a lot of quick decisions. Additionally, this level has 2 walls which can be blasted open by cannonballs, but only if you follow its trajectory to the wall, denoted again by an arrow. If you don't get what the arrow is implying the first time around, you'll certainly get it the second time around. And all it takes to get that first bonus room is to re-enter the level, collect the coin, press start, and then select to exit. These games save your progress to full completion, meaning you don't necessarily have to finish the level for it to register. The convenience of searching for secrets is the reason I was even encouraged to find them all. DKC2 has this unbelievably great flow to it, with almost no disruptions. Bramble Scramble is one of my favorite levels. It has everything. It's a difficult stage. Even the walls around you can damage you, and you need to make it to the end with Squawks, one of the new animal buddies. Avoiding enemies, avoiding the walls around you, threading that needle is so satisfying. It's got a beautiful visual theme. Brambles stretching out into the sky, a maze of thorns and greenery backlit by a soft blue sky, and there to help you overcome the challenge is, well, it needs no introduction at this point. Whether it's Mining Melancholy, Forest Interlude, Hothead Bop, Flight of the Zinger, Disco Train, In a Snowbound Land, Crook's March, Crocodile Cacophony, this soundtrack is consistently firing on all cylinders, and it's best listened to using Raycon's Everyday E25 wireless earbuds. I think we can all agree that things have been difficult the past year, and will likely continue to be difficult. Personally, I found a lot of solace using mine to disconnect from staring at screens all day. Sometimes, you just want to kick back, relax, pop these bad boys in, and give your eyes a rest. And with David Wise's soundtrack, I can't think of a better way to block out those distractions and relax in these trying times. I feel like recommending Stickerbush Symphony is, at this point, pretty cliche, but if you truly want to decompress, you can't get much better than that. If you're looking to purchase Raycon's Everyday E25 wireless earbuds for yourself, go to buyraycon.com/KingK or click the link in the description now to get 15% off your purchase. Send some David Wise into your life. I think we all need it. I enjoyed Donkey Kong Country a lot, but I don't really care to go after a lot of the secrets. While occasionally fun to find, the bonus rooms themselves repeated themselves a lot, and never led to anything more than a simple lives minigame. Their repetition eventually led me to just prefer playing the levels without going out of my way to search for the secrets. That, compounded by the more dickish placements of some of them, and by the difficulty curve being a bit sporadic, made for a game which I definitely enjoyed, but could be a bit frustrating sometimes. I had zero desire to search for the rest of the secrets when I had beaten K. Rool. DKC2 is so addicting. Every single bonus room is distinct and follows the mechanical theme of the level in some way. They are hidden off screen in safe corners of the map, or made difficult to reach behind invincibility barrels or animal buddies. They're not only satisfying to find and play, they unlock harder bonus levels. These bonus levels are some of the best in the game, and because of that, I feel like I'm really missing out if I don't go for those Krem coins. Everything just works. It's hard to describe. I got a little over halfway through the game on one of my more recent playthroughs and forgot to save before closing it. This meant I'd have to play the entire game again, searching for bonus barrels and DK coins, clearing those harder levels later on. But the curious thing is, I had no problem whatsoever starting all over again. I glided through those earlier levels, chaining through enemies, nabbing those bonuses. It was peak platforming zen. The difficulty climbs gradually. The levels are just the right length to keep the flow of ideas moving. Each of the levels get the most out of the concepts they introduce. Every single animal buddy is used to its fullest extent through stages that revolve around them, or bonus rooms you have to find by making sure you hold on to them. The crescendo is just beautiful. Animal Antics, the final bonus level, tests your knowledge and skill of every single animal buddy, using an assortment of different level themes that makes for the ultimate challenge before completing the game. It is the ultimate test of mechanical mastery that's basically a slam dunk for these kinds of platformers, and it's allowed to be as arduous as it is because you need so many Creme coins to get there. And it's not just this level either. The endgame of DKC 2 is some of the hardest platforming I've ever endured. DKC 1 had some harsh spikes, but I think the end of this adventure has it beat not just in difficulty, but in creativity. Castle Crush has you on an ascending platform, avoiding enemies that fall onto the platform with you, using the various animal buddies along the way for bonus rooms. It's one of the most memorable levels for me, and one of the hardest. It's only the beginning of the gauntlet, too. Clapper's Cavern, Chain Link Chamber, Toxic Tower, Screech's Spirit, and the final battle with K. Rool. Use all of the enemies you've learned the patterns and behavior of, all of the animal buddies you've become familiar with, the box throwing mechanics, the partner throwing, the secret finding, everything. I died so many times, I got frustrated, I might have even wanted to scream, but I got through it. Diddy proved himself a hero, saved Donkey Kong, and I let out that confident sigh of satisfaction. I think the real strength of it all is that even through the pain, the grueling learning process, the curse words I whispered to myself, when it was all said and done, I was ready to do it all again, to let my eyes soak in those beautiful levels, to let my ears feast on the buffet of brilliant music, to let my hands partake in the rhythmic flow of mechanical challenges once more, to let my brain bask in the dopamine that rushes into me when I find a secret. I just can't hold it within myself. I feel like a giddy schoolboy again, bobbing up and down talking about my favorite video games. It's rare that a game gets me quite that amped. It's probably a good thing that I never grew up with it, or I'd never shut up about it. There are a few notable problems. Though the bosses have a new coat of paint, I feel like a lot of them are a little too easy for my tastes. Some of the levels overstay their welcome a tad in length. Many sub-mechanics are not explained particularly well. Floating bananas in the shape of an A button are the only indicator that you can pick up and throw your partner, or that animal buddies have an extra ability tied to it. I didn't know you could aim your shots up and down with Squitter. Hell, I didn't even know you could make web platforms for quite a while. Occasionally I'll run into a problem where the camera feels a little too zoomed in, which can lead to enemies popping out of the 4x3 black bars and blindsiding me when I'm going a little too fast. And for the love of God, this gets really annoying after a while. I could list off a series of other nitpicks, but they'll only ever be nitpicks. That's all I can really muster. I will never quite understand the hype behind certain games or series. I wasn't there to see what a groundbreaking title A Link to the Past was when there were no other games like it. I wasn't there when Super Mario Kart blasted everyone's socks off with an unparalleled multiplayer experience. I wasn't there when Mega Man was popping out fun sequels year after year to be enjoyed by all. I can't help but feel like a lot of these games are pretty dated, to an extent where I just can't seem to eke out the same level of enthusiasm or enjoyment that fans seem to get out of them. Believe me, I really want to love them. I want to get passionate about them. I don't want to be underwhelmed, but that is an inevitability. I'm not going to understand or agree with everything that made our industry what it is. But you can't say that I was never blown away. Like Super Metroid and Chrono Trigger before it, I completely understand why DKC 2 is such a monolith, why it's talked about with so much reverence. I can feel the power behind it playing today. It has quickly become one of my new favorite platformers, nay, one of my favorite games ever made. I think it's a testament to its immersive, challenging, engrossing quality that I'm so enamored by it. That among the vast sea of platformers out there, this one from 1995 starring a character I previously only knew from Smash Bros. Towers above the rest. It's the coldest take on planet Earth, but DKC2? Yeah, it's pretty based.